Welcome back to the Fitness League, helping busy humans build strong bodies, sharper minds, and better lives. Join us each week as we cut through the noise, challenge the norms, and empower you to train smarter and live stronger. Brittany asks, can you discuss the benefits of each cardio modality, such as running, biking, rowing, swimming, etc.? How to choose? When do you monitor heart rate versus intensity? We'll be diving into this question and many more in today's Q&A episode. Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back.
Sorry, I missed you yesterday.
I know we said our nuance queen is not here today because I forget what we were talking about. We were talking about something that needed nuance, and I was like, she's
so
not
yesterday's
here.
podcast was very black and white, speaking all in absolutes.
Yep, always.
You guys know how to.
We do. We've learned from the best.
Let's talk about cardio.
I think, to answer Brittany's question here in the most simple way, I truly think, instead of thinking, what cardio modality should I do, I think you have to do what you enjoy, especially if you're not doing anything right now. It really has to be whatever one, is jumping out at you the most as far as, I think I'll enjoy this the most. I can easily do this regularly the most. For me, swimming, there's no way I could do that right now. We don't have a pool. We don't have anywhere close to us that I could swim at, so I'm not going to pick that one as my cardio method of choice. So I think
we live across from a pond. You could swim across
you could
that
not
bad boy.
pay me to swim in our pond with all of those snakes and who the heck knows what else is in there. But yeah, I think it has to be the one that just jumps out at you as okay, this is the one I think I'll enjoy the most. Or if you're listening to this and you're I don't enjoy any, which one is going to suck the least for you?
Yeah, I agree. I think go with what feels the best for you. If you hate running, myself, then maybe biking is your thing. There was a period of time where swimming was my thing. You could obviously do, a multitude of different things. If you're maybe recovering from an injury or you have a lot of aches and pains, swimming could be really good for you because it's just lower impact. So I think do what you enjoy, do what feels best. It really, really doesn't matter all that much which modality you choose. What matters the most is that you're being consistent with a modality or several modalities. So I wouldn't get too hyper focused on which one is most optimal. I would just pick the one that feels good for you.
Nailed it. I won't elaborate. I know we have a lot of questions today, so when somebody nails it, we're going to keep on cruising. Ellie says, I think I dislike running cardio because my endurance level is so low, poor, but I want to enjoy it. I'd love to be out with my husband running, especially since our 5-year-old is getting into it too. I do run and bike on the Peloton, but I'm never in zone 2. How do I effectively increase my endurance? She has a second part to this question, but we will start there.
So my simple response to that is the more fit you become, the lower your heart rates will get. And so if you're never in zone 2, I have some thoughts that I've expressed about zone 2 and how I think always trying to stay in zone 2 is a little bit overrated. There are obviously purposes for that, but for the sake of
in the episode yesterday,
for the sake of wanting to just improve your endurance as a whole, I wouldn't be worrying about your zones. Keep running, whatever your zone is. Don't worry about it. Keep running, keep participating or biking, keep participating in endurance-based activity, and it will get better with time. But it does take time.
So we are going to start off this episode with an early disagreement.
Yes, bring it.
For those who didn't listen yesterday, Ellie especially, or it's actually technically today we're recording, came out today. Today is Tuesday. So episode 84 was on this exact topic. So I hate running. I hated running. I'm learning to like it. As it gets easier, I'm enjoying it more. What we hit on pretty deep in that episode was a lot of my disdain and a lot of beginners' experience is that we'll go running and we kind of redline pretty quick. I would be trying to moderate and keep heart rate lower because I was spiking into zone 3, zone 4, touching zone 5 if I was trying to extend it. And I just wasn't seeing this increase week over week. Part of that's consistency. That's obviously a huge part of it. So if you are touching different zones, it really is not the end of the world. But as far as establishing consistency and recoverability, keeping your heart rate down in that zone 2 range for the most part, touching zone 3, again, it's not going to kill you. I run a significant portion of my zone 2 runs do hit zone 3. But when you start creeping above that, especially if you're balancing in lifting, that's when recovery really becomes an issue. So they're called easy runs for a reason. You want to make them be easy. And if you notice like you're huffing and puffing, you're out of breath, you're not recovering well, that's because your heart rate is getting too high on these runs. So I would give some pushback and say you're going to experience a more efficient adaptation if you are lingering in zone 2. Is them learning that some of these runners are saying, I'm not calling myself a runner yet, but as I'm learning, it's go fast, run slow to go fast.
I don't entirely disagree with you. It certainly can help build an aerobic base, and can certainly be better for recovery capacity in some ways. I don't think that every cardio session needs to be a balls to the walls session, but by the same token, and this is why I kind of like the mix of like steady state and HIIT training and intervals and so on, is you're also not going to see improvements in like tolerating high lactate or being able to push through very intense bursts of exercise, being able to see like peak VO2 improvements. None of that stuff can happen if we're only training at zone 2. So that's where I try to provide a little bit of nuance of like, yeah, zone 2 can be really helpful. And also it's not going to make you more efficient at high intensity work. It's not going to help you push the ceiling of your VO2 max. You will see it go up initially, but as you adapt, you'll need to add higher intensity work if you want to keep adapting. So, zone 2 for health and longevity and just general endurance can definitely be helpful. But if we're trying to improve performance over time, we also want to complement that zone 2 with zone 3, zone 4, zone 5, sprint work, intervals, tempo runs, so on.
Completely agree. So I would say the nuance and kind of agreeing with where we're agreeing together, I think the overlap is, I just think there has to be a strategic emphasis on what it is you're doing for that session. If you are trying to get into zone 4 and 5, you're doing HIIT work, that is your purpose for that session. If you are working on building consistency, building your aerobic capacity, you want to run longer, you want your runs to feel easier, then I do think you need to be strategic about keeping it down. If we're just going out, this is one of the conversations from yesterday. If we're going out and doing this willy-nilly, we're going to be very inefficient with those adaptations because there's no specificity in the protocol that we're doing at that point in time, meaning we're going to get frustrated real quick because we're all over the map and this one thing or that one thing isn't feeling easier. So why don't you tap in?
I agree with both of you. I think you're both right. I think, you do have to have a purpose for each session. I think speaking to Ellie and not speaking generally here, like she said, she wants to just enjoy running. Her endurance is low and poor right now. She just wants to be able to keep up with her husband and their 5-year-old. So for someone like her, yeah, I would recommend more zone 2 and slowing it down and trying to incorporate most of that. And maybe once per week, if you have the capacity, sprinkle in a higher effort session of HIIT or interval run or something where your heart rate is going higher. But I totally agree. Like for her specific circumstance, she just wants to feel better at doing it. And for a lot of people who hate running right now, you're going out and just running at max effort as fast as you can for as long as you can, which likely isn't very long. And then you're crashing and you're like, oh, this sucks. I hate it. So for someone like you, Ellie, I think that focusing on slowing down and doing a walk run and, spending some more time in that zone 2 for you, that sounds like it's the solution based on what you gave us here in this little caption. But I know she had a part 2 also about exercise-induced asthma. So let's make sure we tackle that.
Yeah. So she said, would also love to hear your thoughts on exercise and cardio with exercise-induced asthma. If you have the background, you guys are the best. Thanks, Ellie.
Yeah. So I love this topic because I will often hear people say like, oh, I wish I could, I have heard this before, legitimately. I wish I could exercise, but I have exercise-induced asthma. Exercise-induced asthma gets better from exercise. Go figure. Like pretty much every other diagnosis, ailment, etc., gets better from exercise. So while I do understand that in the moment that is frustrating and uncomfortable because the symptoms of that, you kind of get that like chest tightness. I have experienced exercise-induced asthma in the past as well. And I don't know that there is technically a cure for it, but what I can tell you is that now that I do cardio regularly, I don't have any of those symptoms anymore. And I know that that is a very common anecdotal experience. So That being said, in the moment, yes, especially with cold air, especially with dry air, it can definitely, that type of exercise can definitely trigger more symptoms. But regular exercise is beneficial for exercise-induced asthma. So when we talk about, keeping exercise in your routine, keeping cardio in your routine, especially this zone 2 where maybe you're not overly taxing your lungs because you are keeping your heart rate a little bit lower, we can see improved lung function in people with exercise-induced asthma, reducing that airway sensitivity and that kind of tightness in your chest that you're getting. We have Olympic gold medalists that compete at the highest levels with exercise-induced asthma. So I definitely don't want it to be a deterrent for you. Standard things like warming up a little bit better, trying to avoid running in, really dry temperatures if possible. I don't know where you live. So really cold, really dry, that can be kind of irritating. But other than that, like exercise in general is going to be helpful for a series of things, but for your exercise-induced asthma as well.
I wonder how many people are getting the advice from their doctors of like, don't exercise, you can't do it, versus like the explanation you just gave and why we are where we are as country.
Yeah. If we think about, like when I think about what's happening at like the lung level, the respiratory level in our lungs with something like exercise-induced asthma, and then also the benefits of exercise, if regular aerobic training improves the efficiency of the lungs and the heart and the muscles, then that also means that lower ventilation rates for the same workload means less airway irritation. So like the more fit we become, the less symptomatic you become.
Ain't that something? All right, Chelsea says, how to get started with cardio when you currently do none, and the pros and cons of running outdoors versus a treadmill. Also love the podcast. I'm a current Levolution client, but have been thinking about my post-coaching plan, and I'm super excited for TFL.
Yeah, baby.
What's up, Chelsea? Love it.
We do love hearing that. So if you're not doing any cardio right now, like zero, start with one day, literally. Like that's my biggest piece of advice. Don't go try to do what your favorite fitness running influencers doing. Don't go try to do what anyone else is doing out there because they're at a different level than you. So start with literally one day. Pick a modality that you enjoy, like we talked about in the first question, and literally just start. Like, don't overthink it. Just do it, and don't overthink about zones or how long you're going to do. Like, maybe you could probably set like a time frame. Like, I'm going to go walk on the treadmill on an incline for 20 or 30 minutes, or maybe you do try to run for a mile. Just pick something and start with day one and do one day per week for now. And slowly, obviously, build on that as you start to progress, as it becomes more of a habit, and as you enjoy it more. Running outdoors versus treadmill, it's honestly just preference and what you have available to you. I know a lot of people don't love running outdoors. Maybe they don't live in a safe area, or they live on a busy street or extreme weather. That's when a treadmill can be really, really great. Or if you have little kids and you need to run during nap time, like the treadmill is awesome. So it's not that one is better than the other. I don't think there's plenty of elite athletes who use treadmills and for a majority of their training and then go crush it. Just kind of, again, pick what feels more enjoyable and gets you more excited and fits your schedule best. But I don't think one is better than the other.
Hey guys, real quick. If you've been listening and thinking, I need to start doing something for my health, but I don't have time for a full program, that is literally why we built the SDE Method app. It's a fitness app made for real people with real lives. Busy parents, working professionals, anyone juggling 100 things. You can get a smart, effective workout in around 30 minutes, some even closer to 20 minutes, and log out knowing you made progress. You can finally take the guessing out of your workouts. We have workouts designed to be done at the gym or at home, and you get access to all of them when you sign up. As life phases change, you can pick a new one that aligns better with what you have going on right now. And one more thing, we are also qualified for HSA FSA reimbursement. So just hit the app link in the show notes, start where you are, we'll help with the rest. All right, let's get back to the show.
I will say, as anti-running as I have been the last few years, every time fall starts to come around, I was a cross-country runner and fall was cross-country season. And every time it starts to get the temperature drops just a little bit, I'm like, oh, I kind of want to go for a run, but then I won't.
Do it. Do it.
And then I'm like,
maybe this year I'll dust off the running shoes. become a hybrid athlete.
You got to get ready for some.
Join Josh and I as our elite hybrid status.
Brant runs multiple days a week and he really enjoys it. He goes up to the track near like the high school in our town and goes and runs at the track, and he'll do some sprints, and he doesn't like to run around the neighborhood, but maybe we'll find a cute little trail to run around.
I was going to say we're due for a new photo shoot, so we got to do some crazy hike and we got to prep for that.
There are some decent hikes on this flat land of Long Island.
That sounds like an oxymoron.
There are, like where we used to have our cross country races, there are some really cool trails.
What do you look at? Puddles?
Well, there's this one place called Sunken Meadow, which is on the water. Like one side of it is on the water. Yeah. And then the other side of it is all of the like hills, trails. Our main race course for cross country was this 5K that we would have to do called Cardiac Hill, appropriately named.
Okay.
And allegedly it's like the hardest cross country course in the country for like a 5K. And that was where we raced twice a week.
Interesting.
So,
very interesting.
We'll bring you there. Anyway, if you see me dusting off my sneakers in the next few weeks,
you heard it here first.
Blame the fall.
Cold plunges, runs.
I even got a red light. What's happening to me, guys?
Light.
They got me in a cold plunge. Look at us all influencing each other.
You're a new woman.
Look at us.
It's funny. You texted over for TFL trackables at Red Light Therapy, and I put up a thing yesterday. What are some crazy things you guys track that we may not have on this list? And someone last night or this morning did also say Red Light Therapy. I saw those come through at the same time. Yep.
There we go.
Was there anything else
we were tracking?
Worth
90%
mentioning
of the requests we were already tracking. There were some things like prayer, Bible study, some kind of like one-offs.
I was going to ask you,
health,
I literally almost texted you that today. Like, can we put either prayer or like spiritual health or like kind of like generalize that for people?
I think there is something spiritual.
I looked. There's nothing. I mean, unless
there was. I thought there was like a prayer session.
This morning.
There wasn't because I searched it. No, I just added it. So if you saw it,
well, maybe that's why.
Yeah. Yeah. We had meditation in there.
I was thinking about the things that I would like to be tracking in my trackables, and I haven't been great. Like, typically you want to add the things that you know you will do every day and track every day, especially because you like want those great consistency scores in TFL. So like my steps and outdoor walk, like the things I'm already doing. And I was like, do I want red light in there? Like, I haven't been great about doing red light. So for me, I'm like, if I'm putting it in there, it will help me do it more.
Just like that indicator within workouts, you don't want to skip the warm up or the last set or whatever. Like, you want to see that completed. So the way I've done this historically, and it's been like through a journal or through the whiteboard over here, the things that I would be inconsistent with, I start with those, write those down. And then once that was consistent, I rotate in the new things. So like once I got that system down, it's like, all right, what else do I want to do that I'm doing like 3 days a week? So you guys have access to all this.
I wanted to ask you, because you made me think of it this morning about like, do you want the red light therapy to be a yes or no versus minutes? What do you have cold plunge in as? A yes, no, or minutes?
That's a good question. I don't know about cold plunge. I believe it's duration, because sauna is also duration. But what I also find is like, for the purpose of this, I prefer yes, no.
Yeah.
Like, because if I don't do sauna, because it's usually 4 to 6, I don't usually get 7 days. But you put in 0, and that's basically the no. The reason I have these as duration is because it's going to give us even more granular data. So technically, when you input it, it's the yes. If you don't input it, you're technically checking off a no. I do like the simplicity, and even like using Whoop. Whoop has a similar interface. I don't like filling in the variables. I like a simple yes, no, boom, 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 it's done, which still gives us some data. I don't want to double input for all these. So I think maybe you guys give us some feedback. We'll talk it over in our meetings. Again, we get more insight with like, okay, you did it, but this time period is really your sweet spot versus you just did it, period. So if you guys would prefer the more granular and you don't mind putting in the time, or if you're like, hey, I just want to know if I did it and what the correlation is over a longer term, less specific trend wise, but we'll have a conversation about it. Anyway, back to Q&As. Aaron asks, what are the benefits of cardio during pregnancy? Existing feels like cardio right now. So intrinsic motivation is extremely low. I need some logical motivation. Thank you.
I got you, Aaron.
Yeah,
We
go
both
ahead.
got you. I'll start by saying the more cardio you do, the less everything feels like cardio compared to somebody who's not doing cardio while pregnant. And I understand like pregnancy, yes, you're tired all the time. Like to an extent, everything will still feel like cardio, but more cardio is only going to help that. And we know there are so many benefits for both mom and baby. So to just list off a few, Joelle, you might go deeper into this, but for mom specifically, you have better weight management. You have obviously improved cardiovascular health, of course, reduced discomfort. So like aches, pains, swelling, fatigue, like all those typical pregnancy things you hear people complain about. Your mood is higher, your energy is higher, your sleep is a little bit better to an extent, of course, that you can have fewer complications during labor. And there's so many amazing pieces of research coming out about the benefits for babies. So we're talking healthier birth weight, improved placental function, lowered risk of metabolic disease for them, stronger heart health for your baby. There was a recent study also that showed babies born from mothers who were physically active. And I think in this study, it was 3 times per week for 20 minutes, I want to say, of just moderate exercise. So I think some of them were swimming, some of them were cycling, and some of them were walking. And the babies born from the moms who were physically active, so doing these 3 times per week, had more mature cerebral activation, suggesting that their brains developed more rapidly than the moms who didn't do any exercise at all. So I thought that was interesting, kind of just a cool little tidbit. But
Love that.
basically, TLDR, there are so many benefits and you should do it.
Yeah, I will echo all that. I thought where you were going to go with the exercise and the benefits for the baby, there was another thing that I saw about how babies of exercising mothers had healthier HRVs, which is so funny to think about like a baby's HRV. But really what we're talking about there is better stress resilience in a baby. And that also means improved like nervous system development is really what we're talking about there when we talk about better stress resilience. So I think it's really cool to think about like the benefits of cardio are obviously going to be the same for the mom, whether she's pregnant or not, but it's like they're the same for a non-pregnant person, but and then some, because the symptoms that you normally have with pregnancy, like bad sleep and, you know, potential complications, you lower those risks. Like Alessandra said, you lower that risk of aches and pains. You lower the risks of an unhealthy pregnancy. You lower the risks of diabetes, preeclampsia, excessive weight gain, things like that, the back pain and so on. But I think the coolest part is like the benefits for the baby. I think that's the most underrated part, especially because it used to be believed like, oh, if you exercise, you'll like steal nutrients from the baby. And that is not true. We actually see more oxygen, more nutrient delivery to the fetus when mom is exercising. So that for me is the motivation, like the benefits that baby will get, not just me.
There you have it. All right. Anonymous member 187 says, I've been walking on an incline on the treadmill for years as cardio. It's worked well, but my heart rate always gets to around 110 to 120. But this hasn't changed even though I've done it for years at the same speed incline. Shouldn't I be adapting to it? It sounds like because you said it's been working well, anonymous member, that maybe you did adapt to a point. But the thing about cardio, and especially when you're being specific with cardio, is that you have to keep increasing it the better you get at it in order to create more effort. So you either have to go faster, go longer, go further. If you're doing the same speed, same time, same incline, it sounds like you found your set point, and to continue adapting, now you've got to push a bit further.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. Like if you have reached that state of adaptation, the only way to go beyond that is to provide a new stimulus. So it's likely that it didn't start that low. It was higher. Then your cardiovascular system got more efficient. So your heart rate at that workload probably did drop compared to when you first started. But if you've kept now that same speed and that same incline for, call it, years, now that effort is, you've adapted to that effort, which is great. But beyond a certain point, there's no reason for your heart rate to keep dropping. It's just going to keep stabilizing and adapting. So yeah, add in like, we talk about progressive overload all the time with strength training. Your cardio needs progressive overload too if you want that to keep improving as well.
All right. Brittany says, is breathing through your nose that much better than your mouth? I have a harder time.
We answered this one yesterday,
Oh,
Josh. I wrote back to her. Yeah, this was the last one we talked about yesterday that she asked.
I got jumped in.
Sorry, Brittany. If you didn't listen to yesterday's, go listen to it.
All right. Now we got section 2 over here. Distance versus time. What is better, or does it depend on goals?
I say time is great for beginners. Like if you are new to running, new to cardio, like set a time goal first to aim for rather than distance. Because if you're a true beginner, like even running 1 mile might not be in the books for you to start. So I would shoot for time first. And then once you hit a certain threshold with that, then distance is great. But I think a lot of people just get so obsessed almost with distance that they jump in and they want to run 1 mile, they want to run a 5K, they want to run a 10K, and like that's awesome. I support that, but there is a huge benefit to shooting for time as well too.
Was treadmill running decent eating, but I gained weight instead of the opposite? What the heck happened?
Cardio increases hunger. Short answer.
I feel like this is very common. A lot of people start running because they want to lose body fat, and like that's their modality that they think they need to lose body fat, when we know that, yeah, cardio is going to increase your hunger. Cardio shouldn't be the main driver of fat loss. That's going to come back around to your nutrition. So if you just start running and change nothing about your diet, not much is going to change as on the body composition side or on the scale side. So understand that running is great and we love cardio and we should do cardio. And also your nutrition matters greatly when it comes to body composition goals and other goals aside from improving your endurance.
My guess is you're not tracking macros. And if you were, you might see that you inadvertently had a caloric increase. If you do come back and say, actually, I've been tracking and I haven't changed anything about my nutrition, then this becomes a different conversation. But if you're not tracking your nutrition, the most likely answer is you're just eating more.
Any tips on breastfeeding and running? I do both and don't want to lose my supply.
Another common one, and I think we'll expand this to not just running, but like breastfeeding and exercise, which we've touched on a little bit here and there. But a lot of moms are under the assumption that exercise is going to immediately decrease their supply. And if your nutrition is in the right place, and if you're fueling enough to support both breastfeeding, your milk supply, and your activity level, then it will not happen. Avid runner and breastfeeding mother here to, we got two of them. So.
Not avid runner, but avid
exerciser,
Pelotoner, and with either pregnancy, I never had an exercise-induced dip in supply. It's going to, it often gets like when people have that dip, it's usually like, oh, I started exercising. And when I started exercising, I also started dieting heavily. And then they're like, oh, it was the exercise. No, it was the fact that you went 0 carb. Nutrition helps. Significant.
All right. This one is actually in Coach Kara's wheelhouse. It's one of the things she talks about all the time. One of our performance coaches, she does triathlons, but fueling for long runs while in a fat loss phase without affecting performance.
This is a good topic, and I think there is a lot of nuance I want to bring to this topic, because I know Coach Kara is very of the mindset that, you know, run is a goal, running performance is a goal, and fat loss is a goal, and they're kind of two opposing goals if you think about it in just the broader aspect. However, and I say that they're opposing goals because we know for fat loss, we need to be in a calorie deficit. But if we want to perform really well and we're trying to go run a marathon or a half marathon and we really want to crush it, you need to be fueling optimally to have performance be high. I think there can be crossover depending on the individual, depending obviously on the person, their diet history, their training history, what they've been doing, where we can have some crossover, but it has to be, it's one of those situations where, like, if this was my client, they would have to be very on point, tracking nutrition, really on point with their runs, being communicative and telling me like, hey, this is what I'm eating pre-run, post-run. Like, your peri-workout nutrition matters a lot as far as having most of your carbs surrounding that workout, that run, to support the run. The deficit has to be slightly smaller, so it can't be like a quick fat loss phase, I would say. And obviously incorporating enough protein, make sure protein is high enough to support both of those things. And then this might be an instance where I would recommend like having more carbs on a higher training day. Maybe you have a long run and you have a higher training macro day, and then you have a normal training macro day where your macros are a little bit different, a little bit lower. I don't recommend that for everybody because I think it's just another thing to track when people generally have a hard time tracking one set of macros. But in this instance, I would likely recommend something like that too. So I think there can be crossover. It depends on the goals. It depends on what you're trying to do in your history. That's my take.
Yep, I would agree with all that.
Should you only do runs on days you aren't doing legs? I'll tell you later. Anonymous question asker. I usually I'll run on my shorter runs, my shorter easy runs. I'll run on leg day. I stagger it. I start my running week on Sunday, I start my lifting week on Monday, so I can stagger my long run on an off day from lifting. I think I'm not getting enough recovery because I'm training basically 6 days a week. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to stack that today, even though I'm a little tired after heavy deadlifts. My legs feel okay, but I only have 5 miles today. We're scaling back a little bit this week. But
Look at you saying 5 miles is scaling back.
Scaling back, baby. 5 miles is my scaled back long day. How about that? But I do want to take 2 days off in a row. So I am going to stack it this week and see how I feel.
This is a great example, lots of great examples here, but a great example of how, because people ask me this quite often, as you can assume, because obviously I love to lift and I'm running pretty high mileage right now. What you probably have heard, or you may have heard, is keep your easy days easy and your hard days hard. And I think that works to an extent. And what we really mean by that is you're going to want to essentially pair a run day with a lower body day instead of making it like, I'm going to run today, do lower body tomorrow, I'm going to run again the next day. Because what happens then is your legs don't get a day off. Your legs are just doing something every day, and that's not optimal either. So the idea behind keep your easy days easy and your hard days hard when trying to pair running and lifting is that, yes, your legs might be a little more fatigued from doing a run in the morning and then going to lift in the afternoon. But if you're recovering well, you're fueling optimally, and you understand that you might be in the season of one takes precedence over the other. So we talked about this yesterday too, about periodizing. Like in this season, my running comes first for the next however many weeks leading up to my race. And then I'm going to focus on strength for 12 weeks and that will come first. So like periodizing in that sense. So understanding that you might not be hitting PRs every week or every month with your lifts, but this is your time where your runs are really progressing. That's also okay. It's also okay to lift on fatigued legs. It's also okay to run on fatigued legs, assuming that you're not like so incredibly sore that you can barely move. So I think part of it is mental. Part of it is figuring out what is going to really work best for me in this season and experimenting with that. So like Josh just said, what he's been doing, he's realizing isn't maybe the best. So maybe we switch and try something else out for this month and see if that's better. And I think that's kind of what I've done just naturally throughout this postpartum journey too, is as I've added more lifts back in and I'm lifting heavier, I had to kind of shift things around a little bit to see what feels best for me. And that's what I recommend you guys do too. There is no one right answer as far as like, this is the optimal layout of how to pair lifting and running. It really does depend.
Facts. I can't hear Josh.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Josh.
My fault.
We were hearing him through all.
My computer exploded. Lost the camera. I lost everything. How do you like the heart rate monitor that attaches to your sports bra?
I love it. So I saw this.
It attaches to your sports bra like a polar monitor?
Yeah. So
that's brilliant.
Because I used to have the one that goes all the way around, and it just felt super, I felt like claustrophobic between having to wear that and my sports bra strap. Like it felt like a lot of tightness. Yeah. So that Garmin makes a female heart rate monitor. So it just clips onto your sports bra. It's like a strip, and it just goes in the front and it comes around the sides a little bit, and it's awesome. I love it so much more.
Cool.
Yeah.
I remember the days of wearing that polar strap all around you, and I always hated how it felt just like having that whole thing under my sports bra. That's brilliant.
Yeah,
well played.
Kudos
Garmin.
to Garmin. Yeah.
All right, I am back. Holy moly, I didn't scroll down and see the rest of these. We got to start cruising. All right. Live in a hilly area. Suck it up and run all the hills, or invest in a treadmill. You have a gift. You've got a full cardio gym surrounding you. Utilize that. Lean into it. you're going to be better off for it in the long run than those who are surrounded by the flat stuff. So it's going to be a bummer for a little bit. Walk where you need to. Enjoy the hike. But no, you got nature's playground right around you. Suck it up. Get a little better. Keep on moving. Postpartum running. My pelvic floor is not the same and it's painful to run.
This is common, and I'm going to ask you what you're doing for strength training first and foremost, because we have to remind ourselves that your pelvic floor is a set of muscles, and if you're not strengthening it and not applying progressive overload to your pelvic floor, to your core, it's not getting stronger. And a lot of people, a lot of postpartum moms especially, they get cleared at 6 weeks. They didn't do anything the first 6 weeks. They didn't strength train, and they try to hop back into running a couple miles the day after they get cleared by their doctor. And they experience a lot of symptoms to their pelvic floor, whether it's pain or incontinence or it just doesn't feel right. And it's normal. I would say it's normal for things to feel a little bit funky as you are healing postpartum, like upwards of 6 to 12 months. Like things might take time to feel better. However, we don't want to just ignore that and wait for it to feel better. We want to make sure we're strength training and applying progressive overload paired with running and progressing our runs the right way too. So I think both of those things are important. Both of those things go hand in hand. And if it's painful, I don't know how far postpartum you are, but definitely seek out a pelvic floor PT. If you need Rex, feel free to DM both Joelle and myself. We can guide you to the right person. But pain it's common, but it's not normal. And it's something that we want to make sure we are focusing on before we try to continue progressing that run.
Agreed.
How do you establish your running goals? I love running in conjunction to strength. I think you kind of hit on that as far as prioritization, periodization, and just deciding what's most important to you in that phase of life. Anything else you want to recap with that one, or we keep cruising?
I'll just say, like, if they're signing up for a race is a great idea. And I know I touched on yesterday how like we're kind of just running for fun right now. We'll likely race again very soon. But like if you want something to work towards, like putting that race on the calendar and setting a goal and getting it on there is going to, I think, not necessarily make it easier, but just keep you motivated, keep you excited. Like you have something you're training towards. So if you struggle with consistency, if you struggle with never seeking it out all the way through, like put it on the calendar, sign up for it and train for that and have that be like your end goal for the current season is all I would add.
Josh, you're muted.
I know. All the stroller running things.
Stroller running. I really struggled with this when I first started, and now it just feels like another run. But when you first start, it almost feels like you're running double the mileage that you would run without pushing a stroller, because it's like, where do I put my hands? How do I run and like push this? And you're watching to make sure you're not going over anything. It's a lot. But you do get used to it. And I think my best advice is to, if you can, run on like a straight path. So like go to a canal or a trail where you can kind of just keep the stroller straight is going to be helpful compared to like running on a very windy road. And make sure your front wheel is locked, which is key. Even if you are turning a little bit, like that will help mitigate a lot of the bumpiness and like just making it shake a lot if you're running. And then the other just like biggest thing I would say is really just pay extra attention to your posture at first. So I kind of keep one hand on the stroller when I'm running and my other hand is swinging like normal, and I'll switch hands every so often, like every 3 to 5 steps I'll kind of just switch. But don't overthink it and just understand that it is a little bit of a skill you have to acquire, and then it just becomes the norm. But I saw a funny post the other day that was like, I wish Strava had a way to count this run as a stroller run because my heart rate is higher and like everything just feels so much harder. Did you see that, Joelle?
I was just going to ask you, do you notice that your heart rate is much higher when you're pushing the stroller?
Not as much recently, which is ironic because now I'm pushing the double, which you would think would be even harder. But we went for a run 2 weeks ago with the family and I pushed the kids 3 miles and it was pretty comparable. So I think part of that is fitness level. Part of it probably is like we were running on a flat trail versus like we didn't have any hills and all that stuff, which makes it so much harder. But I think to an extent, like it is just different, and have some grace with yourself. If your heart rate is higher, if it does feel just like death at first, it gets better, I promise.
And it probably makes your next run without a stroller feel so easy.
Oh my gosh, a world of a difference. So maybe like do a stroller run, the run before you do like a harder long run that you're like a little worried about the distance, and it will feel like a breeze.
So what you're saying
like
is
when you're
add
used to
stroller
walking with
run
a
as a
baby
separate
carrier.
exercise in TFL.
Honestly, yeah.
What makes me think of like when I would baby wear and walk around the neighborhood a few miles, and then you take that thing off and you're like, oh my God, I feel so light when I unhook my 20-pound kid.
It's called rucking. You're rucking.
Both of my babies all around my neighborhood.
You're a professional rucker.
But I definitely feel like, Alessandra, that Strava complaint is so valid to be like, I wish I could mark this as a stroller run. Because I know there's a social aspect of Strava too, where you'd want to be like, I don't want anyone to think I was this slow on my run. Like I had the stroller with me, or like my heart rate was high. I want to indicate. Yeah.
Yes. And you can like change the name of your run on Strava and like add a note so people can see that. And I usually do that. But Strava, like similar to what TFL will do as far as like AI integrations and like its recommendations, it will track like your fitness level over time, and like there's a bunch of different metrics on there. So when you do a stroller run, if your metrics are off, it's like, dang, I wish I could tell Strava like
this was your worst run ever.
Yes, exactly.
But I had the stroller.
Your fitness is declining. You stink. So yeah.
Gotta be a way to toggle that on.
All right.
Good thing we're creating our own app so we can toggle
Stroller
on and
runs,
off whatever we want.
Stroller runs are going to put us to the top.
We're going to put that in trackables.
Do you wear different shoes for winter or just different socks? Thinking ahead. Slow your roll. We got to touch fall first. We're jumping right to winter.
Gosh. Banned from asking questions, whoever asked this.
No, I think it's fair because it is a worry for a lot of, like, if you started running this summer or this fall and you've never run in the winter before, it can feel very overwhelming. I don't wear different shoes per se. I think I've heard people get more of like a trail running shoe for winter if you live in a place that has more snow or ice. They also make little, like, I guess they call them spikes that you can put around your shoe if you are running in the ice or the snow. That can kind of just help give you a little bit more of like grippiness. I wouldn't really wear those unless it was like you're running in a good couple inches of snow and that you really were worried about ice. But other than that, like I really don't change too much. Socks, they do. Features is the sock brand that I love. Josh started wearing them too because I influenced him into wearing them. They make thicker, like more wintry ones, but some people don't like that. Some people think it obviously makes your shoe fit different. And if you are a foot sweater, you really don't want it too much thicker. So I would say just get a good pair of gloves, make sure your ears stay warm. And my kind of advice, I guess, as the temperatures start dropping is dress for 10 degrees warmer than it currently is, because it will be cold to start, but you do warm up and you do sweat and you do still get very warm when you run. So if you dress with it like for the temperature being 10 degrees warmer, you pretty much are in a good ballpark.
Why do so many new moms get into running? I'm very intrigued.
I don't know that it's just new mom. I mean, maybe it is, but I think running, as we have talked about, is having a moment right now. And I think for moms specifically, I just think about why I run. I love to run solo because it's like quiet time to myself with like, you just crave that silence as a mom sometimes. And with that, it's easy to bring the kids along if you do have a jogger or if you do have a treadmill, and it's just an easy modality to get into doing, I think, as a mom. But I don't know that. I don't know.
Did it say new moms, Josh, or just moms?
New moms.
New moms.
So I'm going to throw out another possibility that a lot of new moms are uncomfortable in their body, and running is the easiest, perceived easiest way to just start doing something, especially if you can't really maybe leave your house, or you have to be home and on the treadmill during a nap time. You can't get out to a gym. I think for a lot of people, like my own fitness journey started with running. And I think especially
it's a low
for
barrier.
a mom who is maybe, I'm trying to take action about my body, what could I start implementing? I think running just becomes the go-to for a lot of people, as I think it probably starts from a aesthetics, discomfort of body image standpoint, and likely gets started for a lot of people from a caloric expenditure standpoint.
Listen, if you're tired of the all or nothing cycles, the diet starts Monday, the I know what to do, I'm just not doing it feeling, we should probably talk. Our one-on-one online coaching isn't just about workouts and meal plans. It's about building something that actually fits your life. No cookie cutter templates, no guilt, just real coaching and real results. Plus, we've got a pretty big team, so we can even pair you with an expert who actually understands your lifestyle because they've gone through it too. If that sounds like what you've been missing, check out the link in the show notes to apply for coaching. Then we'll send you the link to book a free, no obligation consult call with our team. There are no hard closes. We won't even take your credit card over the phone. You'll get the details to sign up on your own time. And more good news, we are in fact qualified for HSA FSA reimbursement. One last thing, we even offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. What are you waiting for? Spots are limited, so apply today. All right, let's get back to the show.
With that, if that is you, make sure you're also strength training if you want to actually change how your body composition appears, because running postpartum may result in some weight loss, but if you're not fueling optimally and if you're not strength training, your body's not really going to look super different. It's just going to be a smaller version of where you started with. So we want to strength train. We want to eat and fuel our bodies well. And if you want to run, then run.
How do I not plod? I feel like my body type isn't for running.
There is no body type to be a runner. I think that's a massive misconception is people see elite runners and elite marathoners and think you have to look a certain way to be a runner. But if you run, you are a runner, period. You may be slow at first. You may plod. I think that's just a silly, cute little word. I've never heard that word before. But I would say there's no prerequisite to running. If you are running, no matter how fast or slow you go, you are considered a runner. And I feel like I'm sure a lot of people need to hear that today because I think there is, like, with this running boom and with a lot of social media influencers turning to running, I feel like it's almost created this aesthetic of what a runner should look like and be. And that's the opposite of what we want to do when it comes to encouraging people to run. Know that there is no running body type and that you are running, so you are a runner.
I also want to add in a similar but like caveat here that a lot of the people who you see running right now in this running moment are people who are also regularly strength training. And we're looking at a specific physique of, let's say, someone who trains kind of in a hybrid way. And we're like, wow, look at that person. They run marathons and this, that, and the other thing. And they have these sick quads and great delts and great biceps. That's not from the running. That is from the strength training. So be very aware, like if you're following someone and they're on chapter 340 of their fitness journey and you're on chapter 1, do not assume that you starting running is going to get you that physique. It is very likely that the people you're following have been doing this a very long time and have done a combination of lots of different modalities of training to look the way that they look.
I love that you brought that up because when I think back, like I too started my fitness journey with running. I guess not technically, but it was an earlier stage of my fitness journey. And I too had that mindset of like, if I run, I think I saw actually, it was a Pinterest photo. I bet I could find it still of Ashley Horner who did a lot of like hit sprints and like track work at the time. She was on the track. If you know who Ashley Horner is, she is jacked. She has a crap ton of muscle and she lifts really heavy. And I didn't know that at the time. I just saw this Pinterest picture of her. Like Instagram wasn't even really it was just starting to be a thing. So I don't even think I followed her there. And I remember seeing that. I'm like, oh, I want to start running because she did long distance too, but she lifts really heavy and has a ton of muscle. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to start running half marathons and I'm going to look like her. Spoiler alert, it did not happen. I did not look like Ashley Horner from running my half marathons. And if I compare, I'll throw up a post this week, just comparing like my running body when I started versus my running body now as somebody who strength trains, it is completely different. So I love that you brought that up, Joelle.
Totally do a transformation post of like running without lifting and running with lifting. Because if someone just starts following you now and they see you're running, however many miles a week, your mileage is pretty high right now. They're looking at that being like, oh, so I just have to run as much as she does to look like that. When you have years of muscle density that has been built from lifting.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't it be nice if there was a platform where someone could watch all of your protocols and see what you're doing to build your physique and your lifestyle and all those cool things?
God,
hey, it's DFL.
That would be.
It'd be so cool. We can be transparent about it now. That's cool.
So awesome.
Right. This is more fun.
Yeah, it's so nice to actually say, wouldn't it be cool? We're building it instead of just, wouldn't it be cool if someone...
It doesn't have to be a sneaky little joke Easter egg for you guys anymore.
Wait, how about Brant is finally in the app? Literally as of yesterday, my husband is finally in TFL. He just looks up at me and goes, "This is great." I'm like, "Thank you, honey." And like at first it was out of nowhere. So I was like, "What's great?" And he's like, "The app. Like this really looks fantastic." And I was like, "Thank you. Yes, this is what we've been building for a year." But he was like, "I know, but this is really like my first time in it. Like this
Isn't it
version
so
of it."
refreshing though? Like knowing someone else who hasn't built it thinks it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. He's like, "This really looks fantastic." I'm like, "Thank you."
I texted him last week and I'm like, bro, I don't know why you haven't officially been asked, but like, do you want to be in the beta? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I don't know if Joel asked you. I know, I don't think I have. Like, I feel really bad that you just got overlooked. So like, I would
I'm
like to
not
be in
gonna
that.
lie, I thought he was in it a long time ago. I had no clue he wasn't in it. Sorry, Brant.
Poor guy. Poor guy.
I must have just been showing it to him on my phone all the time. I really thought he was in it. So when he was like, "Hey, I'm in," I was like, "Yeah, haven't you been?" And then he's like, "Which one of these programs is 3 days a week?" Because he's on a 3 day week lifting routine right now, as he has also ramped up his running volume. And I go, "Alessandra's program Move is 3 days a week." So he's like, "Do you think I should do it?" So he like pulls up one of them and he's like, "Do you think I'm going to lose strength if I do this?" I go, "One, here's the whole strength section. Two, it has mobility in it. You could use some mobility." And then there was like the plyo move. And I was like, "You're going to love this. You love like the athleticism piece. You just told me last week you want to start doing more mobility work and all your strength stuff is here." So I was like, "Okay." So he did the first one. He's like, "I like, I'll let Alessandra know."
I'm honored. I really am.
So Brant's doing Move. He's like, "What about Physique Plus?" I'm like, "Not 3 days a week."
6 days.
I'm like, that is 6 days a week.
That is the longest program in the entire app.
Yeah. I'm curious how many people actually do.
There's a small handful. Like, but I'll rotate through. Like when I wasn't running, I was mostly physique, and then I went physique plus, and then I scaled back down to evolve. So again, phase of life, the flexibility, 3, 4, 5, 6 days a week, what you're enjoying. We like throughout all these, the theme is like be as efficient as possible. So even if it is 6 days a week, like you still want to be efficient with it. But that one is more volume driven, traditional bodybuilding style, push pull lower split. But we want something in there for all of you and to enjoy whatever it is that you're doing in the most efficient way so you can see progress, stick with it, and keep crushing it. So officially, welcome, Brant. You're in.
You are the fitness league, Brant.
You are the fitness league, Brant. All right, last one in this chat box, and I think a couple more snuck back into the Facebook group. But can't run more than 20 to 30 minutes or 3 miles. How do I mentally get over this? So we've touched on, I think, the physical, but mentally, how do we get over this?
This is a great question. I'm sure many people struggle with this. Like you start running, you always do like a 2 or 3 mile run and you've never done more than that. And it can feel really scary. I talked about this actually in my YouTube video vlog that I posted this past week, because this was common for me postpartum too. Like after taking such a long break with running, like I remember the first time I had a 4 mile run programmed, I was like, oh, like 4 miles. Like that feels big. That feels like a lot. The only thing I can tell you is you just have to do it. Like, don't think about it. Just go out there. You can do 3 miles. You can likely do one more. I guarantee you that it will come. It's just a matter of doing it. And there's no mental secret or mental toughness training we can give you aside from taking action and just getting it done. And now here I am 6 months postpartum. Longest run last week was 10 miles. I look at a 4 mile run and it's like, oh, that's like my short run distance for this week. It's just whatever. And the only reason I got here is because I just showed up to do it. And that's literally the secret. Maybe it's helpful. Maybe it's not.
I think it's so helpful to even know for her that she's like, it's purely mental for me. It's not physical, because that is you saying, I know that I can do this physically. I'm just not pushing myself to do it. So there is no physiological, anything stopping you. It's you need to tell yourself, I can do this, and then follow through.
Courage
gritty,
over
baby.
comfort, baby. Courage
Gritty,
over
baby.
comfort.
It's kind of like I gave this kettlebell example the other day of doing split squats, that I was using an 80-pound kettlebell. I wanted to use a 70-pound kettlebell. I was using a 60. I was repping out a 60-pound kettlebell. I'm like, I want to go up in weight. Let me find a 70. I couldn't find a 70 anywhere in my gym. So I was like, okay, I could either stay at 60 or I could use the 80 because there's an 80 sitting there. And I was like, I don't even know if I can lift this. I don't know if my grip can hold out on an 80-pound kettlebell. Let me see if I can at least get like 3 or 4 reps. To my surprise, I was banging out 8 to 10 reps with an 80-pound kettlebell. And I was like, dang, I'm actually so glad that that 70 wasn't there, because I never would have even thought to try the 80-pound kettlebell. And so for me, there was this mental like, oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. I tried it, and physically I was more than able to rep that out for multiple sets. So that example comes up for me when you talk about like, hey, there's this mental barrier of being able to run further. You can do it. You just told us you can physically do it. So go do it. Get gritty. Go do it.
Chad Wright was just talking about this on Nick Bear's podcast. He went out and did the Go One More Ultra, that what is it called? Last Man Standing. So he's doing the Last Man Standing. He hadn't been training for that because he was training for this big...
Explain what that is before you, like, a lot of people probably
Last
don't
Man
know what
Standing?
last man standing means. Yeah.
The race doesn't end until everyone quits but one person. So it turned into this crazy slugfest. People were live streaming
Mental toughness battle.
Mental toughness battle, essentially. But they were training for it. So here's where I'll circle back to Chad Wright's thing on that. It came down to these two guys. They ran for, I think it was
like
they were
days.
pushing into, it would have been 3 days, but there was this crazy storm that knocked it out. So they called it, and there were these two winners. But I guess Chad Wright was getting shit because everyone thought he was going to go in and win it. But he had been training for this 1,000-mile kayak race, I believe, in Alaska. So he wasn't training for this, and he ended up running, I think, 84 miles, and he said he was proud to be able to complete that with like not training much. But he's like, these people are so hooked on this concept of mental toughness, and that you can mentally tough out all of these other people who are actually training for a specific modality. These guys who have been training for this ultra this whole time. He's like, I just wanted to go out and compete and give a good run for my money. These guys deserve to win. I'm not going to out mentally tough these guys. He's like, the mental toughness aspect comes from putting the work in. So when you go run 100 miles, you didn't do that because you're mentally tough. You got mentally tough because you ran the 100 miles. You did one of these ultras or whatever that mental toughness, that thing is that you're training, and that hump that you're getting over right now is. That all comes from doing it. It doesn't come from preparing for it with an ice bath, and then now I can go run 30 miles when I'm sitting at 7 right now. It just doesn't happen.
Says the Ice King. So if Josh is openly saying that, listen to his words, people.
It's a tool. Everything is a tool.
I think that's such a great point, Josh. Like, everyone wants to know what the secret to mental toughness is. The secret is doing the things that are mentally tough. And then you start to build this confidence of, I can do hard things. I've done hard things before. I've done stuff I don't want to do before. I can do mentally hard things. And that comes only with proving to yourself that you can. But you got to take that first leap, and you got to start proving it to yourself. And then every time something mentally tough does come up, you're like, I've done hard shit before. I could do this.
It reminds me, Joelle, of, I think you posted this last week. Maybe it was on your stories or something, of just your morning workouts. And maybe it was the 80-pound kettlebell thing.
Yeah, the moms at 5:30 in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like showing up and doing that hard thing first thing in the morning, it doesn't matter what else happens the rest of the day. You started your day with the hardest thing, and everything else therefore feels easier because you did that really hard thing. And I think that bleeds into this conversation really well. Especially when we talk about doing it tired and, you know, the mother shift and all of these things that we talk about on a daily basis. Like, it starts with taking action. And even if that action is small and not your perceived optimal way you want to take it, it still counts, and it still can be a hard thing for you in the season that you're in. Your hard is likely different than our hard right now, is likely different from your best friend's hard. It's all hard. Figure out what your hard is and keep showing up to do the hard thing, and it all gets easier.
There's a sexual joke to be made, but I'm going to keep going and ask the next question. Erica says, are warm-ups for short, medium, long runs required? I'm often super short on time, and my run days so often don't. I got to start that one over. Are warm-ups for short, medium, or long runs required? I'm often short on time on my run days, so often don't, but also don't want to put myself at risk for injury. And then the second part was, if warm-ups are encouraged, what is the best bang for your buck moves?
Oh, I love this question, Erica. I am team warm up. Even if it's like my warm up takes 5 to 10 minutes, it's nothing excessive. Like a lot of people, for some reason, I feel like a lot of people think warm ups are like this very drawn out, like 30-minute thing that you should be doing before every lift, before every run. But like, no, like keep it efficient. The biggest thing did we touch on warm ups yesterday? We did a little bit. But the biggest thing is warming up your body. Like that's the purpose of a warm up. And with runs specifically, I would throw in just some dynamic stretching as well as like a few jumpy type movements, so plyometric. So for example, like I do Kang squats, I do some lateral lunges, I do some cross body kicks. I just sit in a squat position and kind of rock back and forth. Like all of these are like maybe 30 seconds each. I'll cycle through those. And then I'll do just some pogo hops, jumping up and down. I'll do some skips back and forth, and then I would go. And it's literally no more than 10 minutes max every single time. And you kind of have to think like with a long run, like part of your long run, like mile 1, mile 2 often are not all out. Like that's part of your body warming up. Yeah, I don't overthink the warm-ups, but also do not skip them because you're right. Like if you just roll out of bed and go for a run, like chances are things are going to feel a little bit wonky and it could lead to some type of injury.
I do one cartwheel and then it's feet to pavement.
Yeah, we know. Don't be like Josh.
That might be why I'm fighting off some Achilles tendonitis. All right, Jenny asks, how to split your running and strength when you have goals for both. Half marathon in Feb, plus want to build muscle 7 months postpartum, struggling to find the ideal balance since I love both modalities so much. Is there a minimum effective dose for both? There's not enough days in the week. Steroids, Jenny. Steroids.
Don't listen to Josh, please. So you're kind of in a situation where you want to build muscle. You're still what I would consider earlier postpartum. You're in that first year, right? You're not early postpartum, but you're not like fully recovered in all aspects, I would say. So you don't want to not strength train, but your half marathon's about February, 5 months away. So we do want to start thinking about that and building volume up at least somewhat. I would continue to prioritize strength training for the next month or so, and then I would switch and start to enter an actual half marathon program from that point. But as far as, I think she's also asking like the ideal balance of like on a smaller basis, like a weekly basis, I would keep strength 3 to 4 days right now. Once you start to increase running, like you can drop to 2 to 3 days of strength to maintain the muscle mass that you have, if not build a little bit more. But periodization is key here.
Kara asks, what are some of your thoughts? What are some of your cardio method recommendations for someone with zero cartilage in their knee? My husband loves running, but over the years following an accident injury, running leaves him sore and in pain for days. And what protocol will help develop endurance and burn fat? Thanks, guys. I would say using the stationary bike, potentially the elliptical, anything that's avoiding the impact. Swimming is fantastic. You're going to develop endurance with whatever modality you select. It's just building that one thing over time. And same concept with burning fat. Like ideally, you're doing that through diet and strength training, and then cardio of any sort is just a supplement to that. But running isn't going to impact it differently than elliptical or the bike or whatever, the rower, whatever it is that you choose. You're doing cardio. Cardio, in my opinion, is in this one bucket, and you can do all of those things with any of those modalities.
Yeah, I would just say keeping impact low. So my first 2 probably biggest recommendations modality wise with that knee pain is cycling and swimming probably are going to be your most low impact. Could still try elliptical or like the rower. Those will be fairly low impact too. Your least impact is likely going to be cycling and swimming, but also resistance training. Strong quads, hips, and glutes can help stabilize that joint and reduce pain when you are doing cardio. So keep that in mind.
As a reminder, guys, we do hope we are delivering a ton of value. This is a free resource we provide to you, and it's something we love doing. Like we do 1 or 2 of these a week, usually twice a week. For those who can't work with us, they're not in the app, they're excited for TFL. It's not out yet. So point being, if you found value, if you're getting value from this podcast, please help grow the Fitness League. You are the Fitness League. And the simple, easiest way to do that is to just leave a quick 5-star review. It takes less than 60 seconds to navigate over to that section of whatever platform you're on. And that just helps the algorithm find this podcast, which helps that person who needs it find the episode. So we are greatly appreciative of you guys. For those who have been following along with Fitness League Journey, not just this podcast, but the app, the platform, the movement that we are creating, we are so excited to bring this to you. We are getting closer and closer every week, obviously, but this is actually feeling like closer and closer. One more major build out getting wrapped up, and we'll get this bad boy out to you and keep moving forward. But with that, we are going to wrap up this episode with a reminder that change doesn't come in one big moment. It's built in the ways you keep showing up. Take what you learned today and build the best version of yourself for tomorrow. Where can they find you?
I'm at Alessandra Skutnik.
Joelle Samantha.
At Josh Skutnik.
And everything else you need is linked in the show notes.